Okay, thanks for coming back to the channel. So today I want to talk about, we learned through a leak on the Asmodee Germany site that there's going to be some changes to evade. So this is one rule that we seem to have some clarity on now. This is actually a really big change. It's going to really change the way lists are built. Small ships, any ships with evades are going to get a boost. At least one ship in particular got an indirect nerf out of it, that being the onager, because the onager, the way it works, I mean, some of these small ships are really going to be able to absorb dice at extreme range now, so that first turn one shot eliminate a small with the onager is a lot less likely to be able to happen now, which is a great thing. There was a couple issues with the onager, and I do think that this change actually fixes some of the issues with the onager. Now, so what is the rule? So the first thing is we already know traditionally evade has let you cancel a dice at long range, force a reroll at medium range, and that was it. That was the standard rule. We're now adding as the base effect for the evade is you'll also be able to force a reroll at close range, which is really good for small ships. Think about MC30s that want to get in close and get a shot off. Well, this is just, and they have two evades that usually when they're in close, just kind of go to waste unless you're using admonition or something like that. Well, now when you're in close, you're still going to be able to force that reroll, which might help you out survivability wise a little bit. So that's a great thing. Any ship with multiple evades is really being helped with this, and any ship really that has even one evade is going to be helped by this. Now there is a second effect that you can do, it appears. What it appears to say is that instead of using the regular effect from the evade, instead you can discard the evade token in order to affect one additional die. So what does that mean? So that means you can cancel 2 dice at long range. It means you can you can force 2 rerolls at medium and close. At extreme range, where you could cancel 2 dice before, you can now cancel 3 dice. So that's where it hurts the onager. Now, what we don't know about this is exactly how the mechanic works. If, do you just take a green and you discard it and you get the extra effect? Do you get the same effect when you discard a red evade? So you've already used it and now you're going to discard it for an additional effect. You can't use the evade twice in a turn, I understand that, but you've already taken a shot previously in the round and now you still have a red evade. If you discard it, then can you get the same effect, or do you have to be able to spend it and then discard it? My gut feeling is you can just discard it. It doesn't matter whether it's green or red, you can just discard it and get the extra effect. But we'll have to wait for further clarification with the English rule set. Sometimes things are lost in translation a little bit. We just need to clarify a little bit about that. So all of these things are really helping small ships. Now, there are a few other cards that I think some of them are really good cards to begin with. Others might not have seen as much play, but are really going to have to be considered more now because of this. So let's just go through a couple of cards. So the first one is Mc30 title Foresight. So we all know Mc30's, admonition is the title of choice generally. You only see Foresight as if people are running multiple Mc30s generally. With the exception of Mon Mothma, occasionally you would see Foresight with her, and we're going to talk about Mon Mothma in a minute. But with Foresight, when it says when you resolve the evade defense effect, you can affect one additional die. So when we're talking about the effect of when you discard the evade and you affect an additional die, well, now this is another additional die. So now you're canceling 3 dice at long range, re-rolling 3 dice at medium and close range, or in the case of the onager, canceling 4 dice at extreme range. I mean, 4 dice at extreme range, that's almost as good as a scatter for Foresight versus an onager. And you have the 2 native evades, so you're probably going to be able to use one. So I do see Foresight getting a lot of thought in play, and probably going to see it a little bit more now, would be my guess. Now the next one is Mon Mothma, which we had talked about. So Mon Mothma, the way she reads, it looks like she's getting nerfed, but my guess is when we see the card pack, my guess is Mon Mothma, because of the change to the evade, is either going to get a very significant points decrease, or is going to have some modification to her text. Her text reads, when a friendly ship resolves the evade token effect, it can cancel 1 die at medium range or reroll 1 die at close range or distance 1. So you'd still gain the cancel 1 at medium, but with the reroll 1 at close, there's really no, so you would get no added effect out of that. Now maybe she'll get changed to say you can reroll 1 additional die at close range. We'll have to wait and see. You know, that might be how they fix her. Like I said, they could do a big points decrease. Now if they don't change that second part of the text, my guess is, you know, it would just go away, because that's not, you know, the native evade is already taking care of that part of the text. So that would either go away or is going to be modified in some way, and we'll just have to wait and see. My guess is it's going to be one of the 2 things that I mentioned before. It's going to be either reroll 1 additional die, or she's going to get a price decrease, and that's going to go away as part of the effect. So Captain Anita is going to see a lot of play now, because he's going to let you change a defense token to an evade. He was already popular, especially on things like Architons and things like that, where you want to stay in long range, especially if you wanted to use TRC on an Architons. Gives you 2 evades, so you can use 1 and you'll still have 1 to spend for TRCs. But I think you'll see consideration in other roles now in order to get that extra defense token. And I missed one thing. So to get that extra effect, when you discard the evade, you do have to, your ship has to be smaller than your opponent. So if it's a small versus a small, you don't get to do that. It's only when it's a large versus shooting at a small, medium shooting at a small, large shooting at a medium, so that would be like an ISD versus the assault frigate, would get the effect. I believe the assault frigate is the only non-small that has an evade token natively, although Anita will be able to give, you know, an Imperial medium an evade potentially. I'm not sure that's exactly how he would be used, but I do see him gaining in popularity. And then Iden Versio. So Iden Versio was already one of my favorite cards. I love this card. It makes the Raider really survivable. Now with the changes to evade, the Raider becomes almost pretty close to being viable without Iden Versio. But with Iden Versio, with her text about evade, it says when you resolve the evade defense effect, you can cancel one die at close range or distance 1. So now at close range, you'll be able to cancel 2 if you need to, by discarding the evade. And doing that on the raider, that's big because the raider has the extra evade. It has 2 evades, so the raider can do its thing, get in close, get it shot off, and get away. If it has to burn one of those evades in order to cancel 2 dice in order to do it, then all the better. It just makes it that much more survivable. And that's really how a raider is going to work anyways. You want to get in, get out, and that's it. They do their one shot and then they're gone for the most part. And the challenge is getting them to survive till the end of the game, to help your point differential and stuff like that. So those are the few cards that I picked out. I think that this is a huge change. I think it's going to really change how things are played. A couple other things. So we've seen some squadrons that have an evade token. That makes a lot more sense now. Those squadrons are going to be able to force rerolls, either versus squadrons or versus ships, while at close or range 1. They're going to be able to use that evade. So the evade has, it's not a super great token, but it's better than it looked when we first saw evade on a squadron. Sometimes you just need that one reroll in order to survive to shoot again. So thank you very much. Hopefully we'll get some more news by the end of the week. Big holiday in the States tomorrow. Don't know, they could, the articles might be automated. It might go up tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, maybe Friday we will get an article, and then we're within a week for release, and we still have probably a couple more articles to go. So thank you very much. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.